I'm going to obviously be talking about the Snowden stuff more as both maybe as the show goes on today, but certainly in the coming days, weeks, months. But one thing that just really strikes me about this Snowden thing that, the Times has come out now and said, is editorialized for some form of clemency, some type of limited, not necessarily saying that he did nothing wrong, but saying that the value of what he did outweighs that which the laws that he broke because he was functioning as a whistleblower.
Right.
What has also followed, sort of both in its wake and leading up to this, I think, is a sort of a broader awareness on the center left that there's also a tremendous amount of hypocrisy here. When a guy like Clapper, who lied in front of the House, none of these people are calling for the prosecution of Clapper. That President Obama came into office saying, we're not going to really in any way seek to prosecute those who broke torture laws. Those who may have lied I would argue lied us into an invasion and occupation of one of the greatest foreign policy blunders, killing hundreds of thousands of people, this history that our country has seen, at least in recent times. None of that. So there's a real acute awareness, I think, which goes hand in hand on some level with the drug war, that we are living in a society where we do not have equal application to the law. And it's ironic on some level, or I guess coincidental, or maybe it's not coincidental. 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, Glenn Greenwald was writing, had come out with a book basically with that argument. And,
Right.
There seems to be a broader acceptance of this notion that there are two sets of rules. One for the establishment, including the financial sector, frankly, and then one and for the national security state, and then one for everybody else. That we really have seen a fundamental breakdown in the application of the outrage about the rule of law between those on the inside and those on the outside.
Yeah, well, and the thing is that there's a couple things there. Obviously, the founding of this country as a democracy, and we won't talk about all the problems that were obviously serious problems when it was founded, because we weren't equally applying laws. We had these people called slaves that obviously weren't living up to everything we were saying. But at the same time, the sort of, at least the notion was supposed to be that what had created tyrannies like what was going on in England was that we need to be a country of laws and not men, as they put it, right? That the law applied equally to everybody, and if it doesn't, if it applies arbitrarily and the people in power get to choose who it applies to, then you're not really a democracy, are you? And this breakdown, I'm sure in past times, it's not like it didn't happen in the past. It's not like there weren't people that bribed people and got off and whatever. But I think that the change, and I think you sort of hit it there, the wholesale societal acceptance. Literally, we had people engage in one huge criminal act, or many of them on Wall Street, and nothing's happened to any of them, obviously. And more recently, some of these internal dealings have come out with, which bank was I wish I read the article recently. It was HSBC or one of them where, they couldn't do it. They couldn't put guys in jail because they were scared it would undermine it. It might bring the bank down. And so there's always a reason why you can't do it, right? We have to pardon certain politicians. The country couldn't handle it if Nixon went to prison. So let's just get the long national nightmare needs to be over. And, it almost seems like this is the way we look at it in politics. We look at it, which is, then we judge that it's better for all of us if we don't send these people to prison. So we don't, which I think is a BS, obviously, reason. But people on the streets, obviously, every day have no protections like that, and they're thrown in jail for the most ridiculous of reasons. Hell, these days it could just be for protesting something. And have their lives ruined. And you can't. How a society like that does this continues to function. And you're right. That is the hypocrisy inherent in these very people that clamoring out for members of Congress who are attacking Snowden. You know what? Clean your own house out.
Right.
How many guys are sitting there right now that should be investigated by the ethics committee for any number of things, but aren't? It's not happening. And I mean, the right theoretically always claimed they believed in accountability and that they believed in incentives and disincentives. That's what capitalism is supposed to be about. Well, you tell me what the incentive is when you can break the law, make a lot of money, and not pay a price for it.